Okay, I'm coming on with another message, and this one is on the fallen angels who produced Nephilim. So, I think the fallen angels are called the Anunnaki, I believe, and their um, descendants were called the Nephilim or the giants, and that's when I looked up the Strong's Concordance, and it talked about the Nephilim, and I found the term. So Nphiyl, or Naphal. It means bully or tyrant, and that is the word that comes from Nephilim. And these giants were basically doing all kinds of wrong. They were basically eating people and causing all kinds of chaos. And so yeah. But I'm going to start here. So this is in Enoch, which a lot of people I don't know. I'm just going to show you what I found. And so it came to pass that the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born to them beautiful and attractive daughters. The messengers, the children of the heavens, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, "Come, let us choose wives for ourselves from among the children of men, and beget children for ourselves." And Simjaza, who was their leader, said to them, "Indeed, I fear you will not agree to this deed, and I alone will have to pay the penalty of this great sin." They all answered, "Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing." Then all of them swore together and bound themselves by mutual imprecation, and they were 200 in all, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. So Mount Hermon is where the fallen angels came to this world, and 200 is the number of angels that came to this world. Because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations in us and their leaders. So the leaders, Simjaza, Arkalba, Ramil, Kukablo, Timlo, Remlo, Dinel, Ezekiel, Berkagel, Ezel. Yeah, I can't pronounce these. Armaros, Beterel, Ananel, Zekiel, Seteril, Turel, and yeah. And all of the others took wives together with them, and each of themselves defiled themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bore great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, very, very tall. I don't know what an ell is, but it's, I think, pretty tall, who consumed all of the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind, and they began to sin against birds and beasts, reptiles and fish, and devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives, shields and breastplates, and make known to them the wells of the earth, and the craft of the working of them, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all, in other words, makeup and vanity. So that's where makeup came from. Kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures, and there arose much godlessness. They committed fornication, they were led astray, became corrupt in all their ways. Some Jaws taught enchantment and root cuttings, Ambrose the resolving of enchantments, and astrology, constellations, and so I'm just naming off the stuff that they did. Knowledge of the clouds, signs of the earth, sun, the course of the moon, and as men perished, they cried, and their cry went to heaven. And so Michael, Uriel, Gabriel looked down from heaven, saw much blood, and now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls men, make their suit, bring our case before the Most High. And so they did. And they went before the Most High. You have given authority to bear rule. I'm just skipping. Their lamentations have ascended. They cannot cease because of the lawless deeds they are worked on the earth. Then the Most High uttered as holy and great one, and sent Uriel to the son of Amalek. Go to Noah and tell him in my mighty hide yourself and reveal to him the end that is approaching. The whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come on the whole earth. and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him, he may escape, his seed and may be preserved for the generations of the world. And again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel. Azazel was a bad dude, a very, very, very bad dude, hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert which is in Judale, and cast him therein, and place rough and jagged rocks over him, cover him with darkness, and let him abide these forever, and cover the face. He may not see the light. In the day of the great judgment he will cast into the fire and heal the earth, which the messengers have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted in the works taught by Azazel to describe all sin. So again, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornicators, and destroy their children of the watchers from among men. Send them against one another, that they may destroy each other in battle, for they will not have length of days. And no request that they make of you will be granted to their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live a continuous life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said to Michael, go bind Simjaza and his associates, and united with women, in their uncleanliness, and when their sons have slain one another, they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones. Bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, until the day of their judgment and their consummation, until the judgment and forever is consummated. And in those days they will be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they will be confined forever. And whoever will be condemned and destroyed from heaven. Wrong mankind, destroy all the wrong off the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it will prove a blessing. And I'm going to just stop there. But as you can see, and even though it is in Enoch, which is, I don't know, some people are claiming that it is a book that is, I don't know, not relevant. I read it as a way to know what happened, because it did happen, and it is in Numbers and in Deuteronomy, where it talks about the fallen ones coming from the sky. Sorry, I'm trying to get more comfortable, and I'm losing. But yes, so Genesis 6:2, the sons of Yah saw that. So this is the sons of God. These are what I just read about. Saw that the daughters of men were good in appearance, and they took wives for themselves, whom they chose. And then Genesis 6:4 says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Yah came in unto the daughters of men, and bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. These were giants. So Enoch, and I think there are other books also, that it's not just Enoch. I think I just couldn't find them. Like Jasher and Jubilees may have it as well, and there may be others. I'm just trying to show you that it existed. And there we saw, and then in Numbers 13:32, the land we explored. So Genesis. Let me stop right there. So in Genesis, this was before the flood. So there were fallen. So the fallen angels came to this world, slept with women, who, and I don't know where the reference was, but I heard a rumor that the women became the sirens, and they were transformed so they would do this ever again, and they were punished for what they did. And obviously the giants were taken out. However, they show up again and no one really knows, because I think the books have been destroyed within reference to, or they're hidden, which tell of how they keep continuing, because we find the giants coming out yet again. And also the people back then, just to let you know, the people in back then were a lot taller. I was watching a video about Noah today, and they supposedly found a sarcophagus for um, the wife of Noah to be 18 feet tall, which is pretty tall. And so we've been told lies that we descended from apes, which were small, and that we got bigger and bigger and bigger, when in actuality we started really big and now have decayed to a point. There is literature that I have found in this same book. It's in this complete Apocrypha book. And a lot of these Apocryphal books were in the original King James. The original King James, you can look it up, had 80 something books. The ones that we have now are 66 books, which is very close to 666, huh, by the way, which is someone's number. How evil of him. Um, so, yeah. Um, but, yeah. So, yeah. So, these people have been around for a very long time, but they are mentioned in the Bible. And so Numbers 13:33. So this is when Moses was sending out spies from the 12 tribes, and I can't remember how many spies he sent out, but they were to look at the land and find out who's there and if they had fortifications and that type of thing. And all of them pretty much said, "Oh well, there's big fortifications, and there's no way that we can ever destroy them," and blah blah blah. And so yeah, so they all were basically put in the desert, and the curse was on them, saying that everyone 20 years and above would not make it into the new land, except for was it Caleb or oh, it was Joshua. I think Caleb was one of them as well, but Caleb gave a good report. I think he was one of the spies, and he gave a good report saying, "Oh well, we can take them." Because when you have the favor of God on you, you can pretty much take out giants, just like David versus Goliath. And we don't know really how tall David was back then. I mean, we're assuming that he was a young, like, teenage boy who was going against Goliath, who I think I have down here how tall he was. But yeah, he was a very tall person. So, but it says there. So in reference to what they saw, it says there we in Numbers 13:33. There we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and we were in their sight. So these people were giants compared to grasshoppers. So they were comparing themselves to a small grasshopper compared to a large giant. So think of like maybe a mouse in reference to us. That's the kind of reference that should be in your mind. And these people were all over, and it's in multiple places in Scripture. Deuteronomy 2:10. It talks about the Eman were a group of people and lived there formerly in the land that Moses was trying to possess. People as great and numerous and tall as the Anakim. So it's the reference to Numbers, because it says the sons of Anak. So the Anakim were giants, so like grasshoppers, so like in the reference that I just said. But so they were very big. But Moses told his people and led the people for 40 years in the wilderness, and was trying to get them to believe in what was being shown. So these were the people that they found. They were the Amalekites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites, and Canaanites. And these are the same people that are, I don't know if I can say the word without saying the word. It starts with P. The Canaanites became the P-istine. the Piasta, you know where I'm going with it. I'm trying not to say the word without saying it, but these are the group of individuals that a certain white and blue flag with a star on it is going after and claiming that they're the bad people. Um, yeah, I'm not going there, and I'm not going to say who's whatever. But yes, Jacob, and who was called Israel, was told to take the land of Canaan, and same with Moses. From the Canaanites, from the Amorites, from the Jebusites, from the Hittites, and the Amalekites. So, which they were, which they didn't, because they didn't believe that they could do it, because they're like, oh well, that can't happen. Um, so, and then we were told in Matthew 24:37 that it would be like the day, sorry, like the days of Noah, with a reference to the end of times. And the days of Noah were ones where there was drinking and all kinds of indulgences, where people thought nothing of but wicked deeds were constantly in their heads, which is exactly what we're seeing now. While not quite that point yet, we're very close. A lot of people's wickedness is escalating, and the thoughts of wickedness. I can't read people's thoughts, so I don't know where we are, but we're getting very close, because people are running over each other, and the thoughts of helping each other is starting to go more and more out the window. But the days of Noah, you also had, obviously, the fallen angels and the Nephilim walking around. What you're not seeing is these Nephilim, which are also be called reptile aliens, because and and I have seen videos of this, and I've also been given dreams of this as well. I had three different. I may even be four, but there was one where I was in a like a an apartment, I guess you could call it, and I saw these two individuals who changed their face from a human into these purple-looking aliens, and God was basically telling me that they're hiding. And then there was another one with a man who would, and I don't know why he was grilling meat, and then there was a blonde that walked into the room, and they, I guess, you could say that they lusted after each other and decided to jump one another in a good way. Well, I don't know if it was a good way. Let's just say that they consummated a relationship. But I saw through their whatever, and I could tell that they weren't who they were supposed to be. Like, I saw demonic forms, or aliens, or whatever you want to call them, underneath it. Like, I could see through their costumes, and I've also seen a gray alien. And what we're being shown right now, and the reason why I'm doing this all, is to show you that these so-called aliens are nothing more than demons. Aliens are demons, pure and simple. These are demonic creatures, and what they're going to do is use your belief in aliens to control you. And they do have technology in different ways to cause you to be powerless. They have technology to zero gravity machines and other things that will make it so it looks like they're floating. They have weapons that, it's, and you don't believe in this garbage. It's and there are other it gets really complicated, but there are interdimensional beings. If you've ever seen like Stargate, you've seen these people going through this. Look it up, Stargate, SG-1. And it's this big ring, kind of like this, but it was a ring. And it was this portal where they went through to another world. And think of CERN. And if you look up portals, you they actually talk about portals and going from place to place. There are more than one dimension. There are people that have talked about all these different dimensions, and that's all I will say. But they, yeah, we're we're called 3D or three dimensional. So we're in 3D, but there are I've heard that there are many more dimensions, like potentially 8 to 10. And then actually, if you listen to a person called Dolores Cannon, she talks about hundreds of different dimensions. And she also goes in, and I don't know how much of this I believe, but she talks that every choice that you've made makes another copy of, well, not a copy, another um, part of you, another line of you. And so there could be hundreds of different yous that go on simultaneously. But so let's get back to the aliens. So today, I think it was today, they came out saying, "Oh, well, there's aliens, and we're going to release all the info on aliens." It's like these people are already here, and we see things like Men in Black. We see things like all these alien movies. We see like Stargate SG-1 and all these. These are basically, and television is nothing more than telling a vision of what is actually happening. They're telling you the truth without really telling, or they're they don't think that you'll figure out that they're really telling the truth. Um, and there is a movie called, was it They Live or something, with Roddy Piper, and he had glasses, and he put them on, and he could see through their costumes and stuff. But yeah, and then now you're seeing more and more stuff about reptilians and all their disguises and all this stuff, and yeah, it gets really, I don't know, yeah, it gets really out there. But what I'm trying to say is, don't fall for their BS. These are just beings that have always been here. And as you can see right here, I mean, the fallen angels came um, from from heaven, and it was Azazel who was put in gloomy darkness, and they can talk to these beings. There's a way that they have figured out to communicate with these, but they have to offer sacrifices. That's why you see them offering kid and child sacrifices, because in order to get powers and to get influence and all this stuff, they have to give a sacrifice for what they do in this world. And I know it sounds crazy, um, but they are here. And here's a couple more scriptures that prove that they've always been here. Joshua 12:4, the territory of Og, king of Bashan, one of the remnant of the Raphaim, and Raphaim has reference to giants who lived at Ashtaroth and at Edrei, in other words, across from the Jordan. Um, in 2 Samuel 21:20 was a war at Gath again, where there was a man of great stature, in other words, a giant. He had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in number, and he also had been born to the giants. And there's another reference, First Chronicles 26, and I think this is Goliath. But yes, or I mean, if it's not Goliath, it's another big dude. First Chronicles 11:23. He killed an Egyptian, and a man of great stature, 5 cubits tall. So a cubit is about 2.5 to 3 feet. So he was about 15 feet tall, and killed him with his own spear. And that kind of sounds like Goliath. Um, um, there are books in the Bible that are paralleling each other. So yeah, and it's just different versions or different ways of looking at a piece of history. Just like the four Gospels are taking the life of Jesus and expanding on them. Jude 1:6, angels did not stay within their own position of authority, but left their proper dwelling, and he has kept in eternal chains under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. And that's Azazel. So there are other angels, and there's, I can't remember where it was, but it's in Revelation. So there, Revelation talks about how there are four angels bound up in the river Euphrates that will be released in the end times to cause all kinds of havoc. And these people are evil, evil, evil dudes that are extremely powerful, and they will be released in this final years. And yeah, you don't want to be around when they come out. Deuteronomy 3:11. So Og, the remnant of Raphaim, so that's also Joshua. It's the same Og. He had a bed of iron that was 9 cubits long. There was so about 27 feet, and its width. So that was feet long, and then it was 4 cubits or 12 feet wide, according to the common cubit. Do we have beds that? Yes, we have beds. So potentially, yes, it could be just a big bed, but you're talking about a very big bed. And you wouldn't make a 27-foot long bed if you were like 10 feet tall. So he had to have been like at least 22 to 25, 26 feet tall. Yeah. So 2 Peter 2:4, for if God did not spare the angels that sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to chains of gloomy darkness to be kept until the judgment. Revelation 12:9, Satan and his angels were thrown to earth. So this is going to happen in the near future. 2 Samuel 21:22, it says, these were descended from the giants in Gath, and fell by the hand of David and his servants. So I think that these were Goliath and his brothers. Yeah. Amos 2:9, it says, I who destroyed the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of cedars. Cedars, any cedar is like 20 to 50 feet tall, and who was strong as the oaks. An oak tree is extremely strong. I mean, most oaks can handle winds over 100 miles an hour. So this is in reference to that. And I destroyed the fruit from above and its roots from beneath. So these are all on giants, or what it talks about is people of great stature. They're trying to get you to not realize that giants have always been here. And if you look up Question Antiquity, it's a Facebook group, and I think he's other places as well. But you'll see all kinds of pictures that our past has been completely hidden from us, and that there are pictures of giants, giant Indians, giant blacks, and other races. I mean, these people have been around for a very long time, and they're just trying to hide the fact from you that these people exist. Oh, there's one other dream that I had. So I was going through, and I was like this, and these giants were like way big, and they had like dog or like wolf heads, and there was a little thing of dog chow below them. But these people are still here. The giants are still roaming around. Why do you think they have curtained off all the national parks and everything and don't allow drones? Because they don't want you to realize the truth. So don't fall for this BS. I'm showing you by scripture and by everything else that these people have always lived, and they're still here, and they will be dealt with. We live in times where these people have, are the days of Noah are in reference to how abominable this place has gotten. It talks about giants. So we're there, and these people are hiding, like the aliens and all this stuff. They are hiding among us. They have ways of making themselves look different. So do not fall for their alien BS. These are not aliens. These are beings that have always been here. And yeah, they're I believe that there are some aliens that are just different creatures that we've never seen, potentially. I mean, God does create different creatures, but just be very careful. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully you learned a lot. Bye for now.